Welcome to Conversations, Haitian American Woman in Politics. We have an amazing discussion for you this evening with 4 phenomenal women, and we are going to open up tonight's conversation with none other than Christine Olivo. Christine, welcome. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Honestly, it is a pleasure to have you, to connect with you, to learn more about you and understand why you have taken this amazing path to run for Congress. Christine, there are so many individuals, specifically Haitian American women, that are going to be watching tonight. And so we want them to learn a little bit more about you and to really challenge them wherever they are right now, whether it be at the office, at home, at the kitchen table. We want your energy to reach them, for them to understand that they can do it too.
Yes, they can.
Absolutely. Christine, everyone has a journey, right? And that journey starts with a story. Tell us about your story. What led you down this path?
Oh, what led me down this path? Well, first and foremost, I was born and raised in the district. I grew up in El Portal. My father's side is from Port-au-Prince, and my mother's side is from Cape Haitian. I grew up in a Haitian household, but I went to school in North Miami, high school in Opelika. I grew up all over this district. Now, as an adult, I have 2 beautiful boys, and really what led me into politics, I always tell everyone, I didn't get into politics until it got personal. I look at my 2 boys and I just know that my husband and I want a better life for them than we had. And not saying anything about the way we grew up. We had our obstacles. We didn't realize that we were going through the things that we went through. But now, as an adult, I want to make sure that my children, your children, everyone's children has a better tomorrow. So that is what led me on this journey. I started voicing my opinions. I'm very vocal.
Really?
Yes. I was voicing my opinions and people started inboxing me and saying, Christine, you need to run. You need to run. And it was just, it was overwhelming. And I'm a woman of faith. I spent a good majority of my life leading in the church. I was a youth director for 6 years right here in the district at Holy Cross Lutheran Church. Hi, everyone at Holy Cross that's watching. So it was always in me to take that leadership role, but I had to pray about it. And when I did, God said, yes, it was time. And so I felt that calling. I put my name on that ballot, and here we are today.
Wow. Christine, tell us, when you think about purpose, what does that mean to you?
So ever since I was little, I remember being 3 years old and looking up in the sky, and I asked my teacher, so does God live in the sky? And the teacher says, yes. And I said, I want to be a part of that team, right? I always knew I wanted to be a part of something greater than me. Growing up, even I lived in LA for a few years, and there was a horrible incident that happened in LA. A young boy was walking home from school, and this car came up to him and said, hey, what set are you in? And he meant gang. And the kid was like, I'm not in a set. He calls his father. He's a few steps away from the door. He goes, Dad, there's some guys following me. Nonetheless, the father comes out and they shoot the boy right there, a few steps from his door. At that moment, I couldn't stop crying, number one. But number two, I said, I want to do something greater. I created a nonprofit called The Love Epidemic. And I started creating these videos where I wanted to spread love like a disease, because I feel like hate has become this disease. So here I am spreading love like a disease, right? And then my next mission, when Trayvon Martin was murdered, I had moved back to Miami, and so much was going on there. And at that time, I said, okay, I want to do something for the youth in my community. And I started leading workshops called Search and Rescue, where we would grab the youth off the street and bring them in and talk to them about their purpose and what they're living for. And so when you talk to me about purpose, I just go back in time from when I was that little girl asking my teacher, you know, what is this? Like, oh yeah, God created all this. I said, I've always wanted to be a part of something greater. And so that is my purpose, being a part of something greater, using my voice for the greater good at all costs, being fearless. Even in this race, I have to be fearless. I am literally a regular person, an everyday person, but I know that I have an extraordinary gift, a fight in me, that I can go out and be a voice for other people. I've been doing it since I was a little girl. So that is my purpose, being a voice for the voiceless.
Thank you, Christine. Christine, you talked about going out there, getting the youths off the street, sitting down with them, helping them to identify their purpose, and that is actually being part of a greater community. Being a part of the Haitian American community, what does that mean for you?
Being a part of the Haitian community, listen, I'm a part of many communities, but the Haitian community is number one. Does it mean jikole? Does it mean pulna sauce? No, it's not just the food, right? It's my grandmother telling me every day, saying, Christine, one day you're gonna pull us up. You're gonna get us out of this. It's knowing my heritage and my roots and knowing that I have that revolutionary blood inside of me. Haitians are, we're the first ones to free ourselves, right? So that has been passed down. That mentality, that fight has been passed down generation after generation. And when I saw my grandfather working 2 or 3 jobs to help us, my grandmother literally would bring the entire family to live with us. We lived right here on 88th Street. Everybody knows the house because everybody has lived with us at one point in their life. So being a part of the Haitian community means getting everybody together and fighting together and working together and living together. I am so proud to be Haitian. I know that I was born here in Miami, and so I'm technically Haitian American, but when people ask me, I just say I'm Haitian because those are my roots.
Understandably. When we talk about our roots, we are immigrants. Although, you know, maybe your generation in your particular household as well as mine, we were born here. However, our parents came here as immigrants.
Yes.
Tell us, how do you as a Haitian American connect to the immigrant story?
So the immigrant story is my story as well. I just remember seeing a picture of my grandmother who was pregnant, who had to literally change her name to get out of Haiti, to flee from an abusive relationship. She came here to America to provide a better life for her child, for her unborn child. And so when I see these mothers coming to America to fight for their children, I see my grandmother, I see my uncle, I see my mother. This is what I see. The immigrant story, like I said, it is my story. When I see that there are children in cages, I look at my children. It hurts me to my core, which is why immigration is huge on my list.
You tiered right into our next segment. Tell us about your race, what position you're running for, and what does that role entail?
So I am running for Florida's 24th Congressional District. I am running for Congress. We'll make it plain and simple, right? What does that mean? That means I get to listen to the cries of the people. I get to go to Washington and I get to fight for actual laws that we can bring back to our community that can change our future, that can change the direction of whether or not we have health care, whether or not our families being deported, whether or not we can even have affordable housing, or if we have economic relief during this time in COVID. Being in Congress not only means that you get to help create and pass laws, you get to bring funding back to your communities. I can fight for the fundings for the programs that I know will directly affect the people living right here in District 24.
So, Christine, we're going to quickly talk about your opponent. Today was actually supposed to be a candidate forum, and unfortunately, your opponent was unable to make it. Tell us, why do you believe at this point in time you are the best person to represent District 24?
My opponent has a history of not showing up. She is the most absent in Florida, within the Florida House of Representatives. She is the most absent representative. I understand that in the very beginning, she didn't miss a day. She had the fight. She didn't miss a day. But as time has progressed, she has been more and more absent. What puts me in a better position is that I'm ready to fight. Within the Trump presidency, our Congresswoman has missed almost, if you tally up all the days, it is worth a year and a half of work. 580 days absent from work. When we talk about bills getting passed, when we talk about why it takes us so long to get things done, we need to actually talk about how comes no one's showing up every day to fight for these things to get passed. Of course they're gonna take long. No one's there to fight. I am ready to show up. I am ready to fight. Every single day, I will march on Capitol Hill proudly representing District 24. That is number one. Number two, I will listen. A lot of the politicians these days feel as if their vision and their word is it. I have partnered with a company called Phoenix Voting. Phoenix Voting, what they do is they actually allow the constituents to see the bills that I'm about to vote on, and you can now cast your votes on how you feel about that bill. So now I can see, how do the people feel? It's going to be hard for me to call everyone, but if everyone joins Phoenix Voting, then easily you can just click a button and say, this is what I support. Now, if I choose to go against the majority, then we have a problem. It's all about transparency.
Holds you accountable too.
It holds me accountable. And that is what we're missing right now in politics. Holding our politicians accountable. Transparency, honesty, putting the people first. And the last thing, fighting. It has not been easy for me to be in this race. Every single day, knocking on hundreds of doors, sending out thousands of text messages. We make dozens of calls. This is the fight. I am showing up. I am ready to fight. Right now, we have too many people that are unemployed, uninsured. 132,000 of our residents live below the poverty line. We need a fighter.
Due to COVID-19, many organizations need a safe and equipped place to host meetings and to broadcast live on many social media platforms. BL Workspace can help. All you really need to do is come in and start your live events with whom you wish to connect with. You can connect with church congregations, small businesses, or throw a concert. We are here to help. With a crew of 1 or 2 people and with a strict social distance protocol in place, this is the place where you can hold your virtual meetings. BL Workspace, connecting people and organizations. Call us now to book 786-440-8121. You can also connect with us on Instagram at BL Workspaces. Winning means many things to different individuals. I think that with this current administration in office, your run is timely as a voice. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not talking about necessarily winning a seat. I'm talking about winning the heart and minds of individuals who are tired and ready for change.
Okay.
What would it mean for you to win come November 3rd?
What would it mean for me to win? Winning means you understanding that you deserve better than this. Winning means you understanding that you don't have to settle for less. Winning means knowing that you have the right to question your representative, question their actions, question their vote, question whether or not they are even showing up to work. Winning means fighting. Knowing that the people now know that they can fight. They don't have to just sit back and take whatever everyone gives them. That's what winning means to me. And if everyone in this district that votes for me or doesn't vote for me understands that they deserve better than this, then I've won.
We reached out to the community and we were able to get some questions for you. One person asked, how do you plan to tackle the many challenges of your constituents as a U.S. representative? Second, one in particular, lack of healthcare coverage because they can't simply afford it.
Well, I think the way that I plan on tackling the many issues we have in our district, number one is getting to work. I've got to get there. I've got to do the work. Healthcare is number one on my list as well. Why? A quarter of our district didn't have insurance before COVID. Now, millions of people across the country have lost their job. Hundreds and thousands within this district alone. Their job was tied to their healthcare.
Correct.
So now that percentage has skyrocketed. The first thing I plan on fighting for is Medicare for all. It doesn't matter what your financial status is. You deserve the best healthcare, just like someone that lives in a more affordable area. Everyone deserves the right to live. Healthcare is a human right, and that's what I intend on fighting for.
Christine, we have another question. Your opponent has been in power for quite a while and serves a large Haitian population. Recently, though, she introduced the Haitian Deportation Relief Act. Do you believe that's genuine? And how would you evaluate her accomplishments in the Haitian American community?
Well, if you look at the history of our Congresswoman, she just passed her first bills just a few months ago. The first one was free COVID testing for everyone. That's a no-brainer, that's going to pass, right? The second one was a commission on the status of Black men and boys. I won't even get into that one. If you look at the history of what our Congresswoman has passed, especially with the commission on the status of Black men and boys, during a time where our country is in racial justice unrest, it seems very opportunistic. When Haiti's experiencing unrest, then all of a sudden, let's come up with this because, Trump's gonna do that. Well, where was the energy before? Where was that bill before? Why does it take for something to happen in the media, then all of a sudden, let's get a bill on that? We need somebody that's fighting for the Haitian community from day one. That doesn't need something to happen in the media, that doesn't need something to happen out in the streets for them to be fighting for the Haitian community. I tell everyone, listen, I'm gonna fight hard for the Haitian community because I have a personal interest within the Haitian community. It's my community. So I also think that her record although she has done great things for the community, if you look at her congressional record, the job that she's hired to do, she has only passed two bills into law. We deserve better than this.
Christine, you have stated so much with such great energy. I know that there is a woman sitting at the office, probably on her couch with a cup of tea, and she's saying, wow, look at her, right? Tell us a little bit about the backdrop. You're a mother, you're a businesswoman. As you stated earlier, you're the everyday woman. What can you say to encourage her that she may pursue her own dreams?
To the young entrepreneur out there that didn't even know where to get the funding for their business, I'm telling you right now, you can do it. To the young mother that is virtually teaching their child and trying to balance a work life, I'm telling you, you can do it. To that young wife out there, the newlywed, that is trying to stay happy in love, but still feeling like they want more. They want a career. They want to do something great. You can do it. To that young immigrant, child of an immigrant, feeling like it's obstacle after obstacle, worry after worry, I'm telling you that you can do it. The thing that gets me up, the thing that gets me going is knowing that nothing owns me. No bill collector, no establishment, no organization, no person owns me. I am my own person. I am not indebted to anybody, but my will to fight. I am indebted to that 10-year-old Christine inside of me. So I want you to look back on that 10-year-old you and say, you know what? I made it. I got this. Let's keep going.
Pour tout Haïtien Américain k'ap gade, ou fait partie de communauté a, ou c'est petite communauté a. Di yo, pour qui ça, yo ta dwe voter pour ou, et en créole, ba yo deux bagaille que ou sûr et certain que depuis yo ba ou vote là, wap travail pour yo.
S'il vous plaît, c'est petite nous. C'est Christine. M'a goumé pour. Ou pas gagné assurance? M'a goumé pour. Moi-même, le moi te yon petit, grand moi te dit, wap leve nous. Grand moi pas là. S'il vous plaît, ou même, mettez nos épaules. Levez nos communautés. Votez pour Christine Alexandria Olivo. C'est petit nous. Every day. M'a fait ça pour tout le monde. Tout Haïtien. 3 novembre. Pas oublier. Ou capable de dire Christine, OK, m'vote pour vous. Qui ça va faire pour moi? I will be there. M'a là. M'a tande. Chaque jour. M'a goumé pour. S'il vous plaît, pas oublier 3 novembre.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much as we conclude our conversation with Christine Olivo for Congress District 24.